pan, tilt, track, ELS, ECU, VFX, SFX, diegetic sound, non-diegetic sound. Confusing? Well, to understand films intricately, you need to understand its language, and these are a part of that language. The more you understand the language of film, the better you get at comprehending the world of films. Hi, I'm Andrew Barreto, Assistant Professor at Parvatibai Chowgule College of Arts and Science, Autonomous, and you're watching a module on Basic Film Terminology, a part of the Film Studies course that you will study at Semester 5. Today we will be looking at basic film terminology. We will go through most of the terms that you will come across as you go through film theory, film criticism, or if you decide to make a film of your own, and you should. To make it simpler, I've grouped them under certain headings: mise-en-scene, literary design, visual design, cinematography, sound design, and editing. So let's begin with mise-en-scene. Pronounced mise-en-scene, this French phrase started the whole concept of auteur theory amongst others. This literally means to put into scene and is actually a catch-all term to represent everything one puts into a frame, a shot. Think of your favorite movie scene and now freeze it. Can you imagine this scene in your mind's eye? Well, whatever you can see in the scene, that's mise-en-scene. Your characters, the setting, the props, the costume, the weather, the geographical location. Now, although this means that it encompasses everything related to visual design, I do believe it captures the essence of filmmaking. Think about it. You are a filmmaker and you decide to create a scene of a student watching a video in their room. How do you begin? Obviously, you'll have to write the story out, then write the scene out while creating the character, then of course find a setting, fill it with props, shoot it, and finally edit it. So, mise-en-scene, according to me, comes out of literary design and ends at editing. Next, we have literary design. Literary design is a part of the pre-production of a film, which means that it occurs before the film is shot, which is the production stage of a film. It normally involves a bulk of the work and ought to take care of the story of the film. Now, the story of the film will involve a treatment through a script and a screenplay. A script normally includes dialogue and character actions, and a screenplay delves deeper into treatment as well as shot selection. A storyboard is an extremely important part of the literary design. A storyboard is a sequence of rough sketches and drawings and a comprehensive shot and scene planning. It gives you the whole film on paper and you know your finished product completely. These are a few of the important elements at the pre-production stage. Next, we have visual design. As I said before, this is where the mise-en-scene actually happens. It overlaps pre-production and the production stage, as the preparation needs to be done in the pre-production stage and the execution in the production. This segment includes the performance of the actor within a shot or a scene, as well as the blocking of a scene. Now, what is blocking? You ever wonder why you can see everyone perfectly in a particular scene even when the actor is in the middle of a crowd? Or ever wonder how multiple people move around in a scene without bumping into each other? These directions are known as blocking. Those with a theatre background will definitely know what it is. Lighting obviously means the amount of light that is used in any one shot. All of this are directorial choices at the end of the day. Every choice leads to the vision of his film. So the amount of light being shown or not shown, or the dark room with a faint light source in horror movie, all these are directorial choices to create perception, give meaning, or create a certain mood or atmosphere. Visual design also encompasses the costume, hair, and makeup of the actors. How many films or TV series have been destroyed because the costumes or the makeup just don't match the theme or the setting of a scene? Set design or setting is actually the world that you see through your TV or film screen. It is the set, the room, the geographical location, the time period, what have you. And it forms an important aspect of visual design. And set designers are really sought after, especially in today's world of franchises and world building in movies. Can you imagine Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy or your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie without the beautiful sets? Impossible. Next, we have cinematography, which, like visual design, begins at pre-production in the sense of the preparations required. So once the director of photography, that is the DOP, sees the storyboard, he prepares for the actual execution of his shots during the production stage. It is one of the most interesting one as a filmmaker, even to amateurs like us. Why? Because it relates to camera choices, placement of camera and camera angles, lens choice and camera movements. So let's take a look at these one by one. All of the above contribute to something which is known as a framing of your shot. Framing essentially means what is put in front of the camera and how it is put in front of the camera to create a shot. A shot is what is shown in the shortest uncut footage of a film. So for example, the extreme long shot. It is where your subject, for example your actor, can barely be seen. Another example, the close-up. The close-up is where your subject's face can be seen. But in an extreme close-up, the camera will focus on a part of your subject's face. Let's say for example the eyes or the quiver of a lip. The lens choice also depends on these shots. A simple way of explaining depth of field is the bokeh effect each one of us is after when we click a snap, where your subject is in the foreground as sharp as ever, but the background is blurred. That's the depth of field or the cinematic effect. Camera movement simply means whether the camera is moving or not. So for example, the camera lens itself could move towards or away from the subject, creating what we call zoom in or a zoom out. If the camera turns to the right or to the left on its horizontal axis, that's called a pan right or a pan left. If the camera looks up or down on its vertical axis, that's a tilt up or a tilt down. Now remember, in a zoom, a pan or a tilt, the camera itself has not moved physically, as in the camera itself is physically still. But what about all those action shots of your favorite actor running down the street and the camera follows it? Well, that's called a track, where the camera follows the actor physically placed on dollies or tracks. Cool, isn't it? I hope that you guys will really read up on this. Please read up on this, as there are so many more camera angles and movements which convey significant meaning to the shots. Next is sound design. Sound design is part of the production and post-production stage of filmmaking. There are essentially two types of sounds that we find in filmmaking. One is a diegetic sound, which is the natural sound that can be caught on the set or what we expect to hear from the setting that we are watching. For example, dialogue or the ambient sound of the set. For example, close your eyes and think about the canteen at your college. Memories. Think about the sounds that you would normally associate with that area. Your friends talking, somebody banging a table, kitchen utensils off in the corner. Well, that's exactly what diegetic sound is. On the other hand, we have non-diegetic sounds. They are sounds which are not natural. For example, a voiceover or a background score. So normally, non-diegetic sound would be a part of the sound effects of the film, which would be artificially added in to the film later on the editing table. Which brings us to the final stage, that is editing. It is a part of the post-production and simply put means the art of putting together shots to create significant meaning. To do this, the editor uses 4 basic edits on the editing table: the cut, the dissolve, the fade, and the wipe. Let's look at these. A cut is the most often used edit on the table, where one shot cleanly ends where the next begins. The dissolve, on the other hand, is when the editor superimposes one shot over the other for a short duration of a time or a longer duration of time. And you may notice this in a dream sequence or a montage of sorts, or if the director wants to show a large amount of time has passed by. The fade in or fade out is usually used at the start of a film or at the end of the film, where the shot lightens from a black screen or darkens to a black screen. And finally, the wipe, where an artificial boundary replaces a shot. Think of the transitions on your favorite presentation software. That's a wipe. So we have gone through many terms used in films, and these constitute a part of the film language that you will now need to use as you discuss films intelligently and critically. And I hope I have whetted your appetite to go and explore them for yourself. A film is made up of all these terms that we studied today, but it's so much more. A film is made up of the technical, the creative, and the artistic, and it boils down to the story that one has to tell. And now you know a little more to go tell a story of your own. That's a wrap from me. I am Andrew Barreto, Assistant Professor at the Department of English, Parvatibai Chowgule College of Arts and Science, Autonomous. And I really hope you have enjoyed this journey of learning. Thank you.